They told me this land was dead, that nothing would grow here again. The soil had turned gray, dry, and lifeless, like ash left behind after a quiet fire. I remember standing there in the early morning light, holding a handful of dust that used to be earth. It slipped through my fingers without resistance. No moisture, no scent of life, just silence. And for a long time, I believed the problem was me. I thought maybe I didn't have the skill. Maybe I didn't have the patience. Maybe I simply wasn't meant to grow things. Every seed I planted seemed to struggle. Every sprout looked tired before it had a chance to reach the sun. I watered more. I fertilized more. I worked harder. But the more I tried to force life into that ground, the more it seemed to retreat. It felt like the garden was resisting me, like the earth itself had given up. I did what most people do. I followed the instructions on the bags. I tilled the soil until my back ached. I broke apart the hardened surface again and again, believing I was helping it breathe. I poured bright blue crystals into the beds, trusting the promise of instant growth. And for a moment, sometimes, things would look better. Leaves would green slightly. Stems would stiffen. But it never lasted. The improvement was shallow, temporary, fragile. Beneath the surface, something was still wrong. I just didn't know what. One afternoon, exhausted and frustrated, I stopped working. I sat down beside the garden bed and simply observed. No tools in my hands, no plans, just quiet. That was when I noticed something I had ignored before. There were no earthworms, not one. No beetles scurrying away. No soft crumble when I pressed my fingers into the ground. It felt compacted, dense, empty. That was the moment I realized. I had been looking at the plants for answers when the real story was hidden beneath them. A few days later, I walked into a nearby forest. I didn't go there with a grand intention. I just needed space to think. As I stepped onto the forest floor, something shifted in my understanding. No one tills the forest. No one spreads synthetic fertilizer between ancient trees. And yet, everything grows. Ferns, moss, towering trunks, delicate mushrooms, all thriving in quiet cooperation. I knelt down and touched the ground. It was soft, dark, cool. Layers of fallen leaves rested gently on top, slowly breaking down. When I brushed them aside, the soil underneath was rich and alive. It smelled sweet, almost like rain. That was when it became clear. Nature does not dig to create fertility. Nature covers. It protects. It feeds from above and allows life to move downward on its own. I had been tearing the soil open, disturbing delicate networks that took years to build. Beneath every healthy patch of land is a hidden architecture. Threads of fungi connecting root to root, bacteria exchanging nutrients in microscopic harmony, worms carving tunnels that invite air and water deep below the surface. By tilling constantly, I was destroying that architecture. By forcing growth, I was silencing the conversation happening underground. So I decided to try something that felt completely wrong at first. I stopped digging. Entirely. No more turning the soil. No more aggressive breaking apart. Instead, I began to layer. Cardboard went down first to gently suppress the weeds. Then dried leaves, saved from autumn winds. Then kitchen scraps, vegetable peels, coffee grounds, crushed eggshells, and finally, a thin blanket of compost. It looked messy, unfinished, almost careless. Part of me worried I was making a bigger mistake, but I remembered the forest floor, and I trusted the pattern I had seen there. Days turned into weeks. Rain softened the layers. The cardboard disappeared slowly into the earth. I resisted the urge to interfere. Instead of digging, I observed. Instead of forcing, I waited. And then, quietly, life returned. The first sign was a single earthworm twisting through the damp mulch. Then another. And another. When I gently lifted a corner of the covering, I saw movement everywhere. The soil underneath had begun to darken. It was no longer gray dust. It held together when squeezed. It smelled alive. The worms were doing what I had tried to do by hand. They were aerating the ground with perfect precision. They were transforming scraps into nourishment far more balanced than anything I could buy in a store. Microbes multiplied. Fungal threads reconnected. A hidden city was rebuilding itself beneath my feet. And this time, I was not the architect. I was only the caretaker. When I planted seeds again, something felt different. I pressed them gently into the softened bed, covered them lightly, and stepped back. There was no desperation in the act, no fear of failure, just quiet trust. The first sprouts appeared stronger than before. Their stems were thicker, their color deeper. Weeks passed, and instead of struggling, they flourished. Leaves reached confidently toward the light. Tomatoes formed in heavy clusters. Herbs released a fragrance so rich it filled the air around them. But the most profound transformation wasn't visible in the harvest. It was internal. I no longer felt at war with the earth. I felt aligned with it. I had stopped trying to dominate the process and started participating in it. The soil had not been dead. It had been exhausted, depleted by disturbance, waiting for rest, waiting for protection, waiting for the chance to rebuild its invisible networks in peace. Today, when I hold a handful of that same garden soil, it feels completely different. It is dark, almost black, moist but not wet, crumbly yet cohesive, alive in ways the eye cannot fully see. If you listen closely, you can almost sense the quiet work happening beneath the surface. Millions of organisms collaborating without ego, without urgency, without force. Healing that garden taught me something far greater than how to grow vegetables. It taught me that life thrives under care, not control. That sometimes the most powerful action is restraint. That covering and protecting can be more transformative than digging and forcing. We live in a world that encourages constant intervention, constant productivity, constant fixing. But soil, and perhaps life itself, responds best to patience. If your garden feels like it's failing, pause before you blame yourself. Look beneath the surface. Ask what might be missing from the unseen world. Add organic matter. Protect the top layer. Invite life back slowly. And then, give it time. Because soil speaks in seasons, not in days. It rebuilds in silence. It heals without applause. What was once gray dust in my hands is now a living, breathing foundation. And every harvest I gather carries a quiet reminder that the secret language of soil is not complicated. It whispers the same message over and over. Disturb less, cover more, trust the process. When we learn to listen, the earth answers generously. And sometimes, in healing the ground beneath our feet, we begin to heal something within ourselves as well.